Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be talking about how you can actually kill Micah Bell early as Arthur and even get his extremely powerful revolvers way before the end of the game. So this is a mystery or a sequence or really just an objective that a lot of you guys have been asking me to try really since the game came out. I've been getting messages on my Facebook page almost like on a weekly basis. And by the way, that's a good reminder. If you guys want me to cover any like future topics or mysteries or secrets to try and solve or experiments to try in Red Dead Redemption 2, reaching out to me on my Facebook page is definitely the best place to do that. You can send photos, videos, and text. It's super easy to communicate. But that's one of the things a lot of people have been asking me to try. And I have tried to do this myself on several occasions, but haven't had a lot of success. So I've sort of just thrown that video idea away and said, okay, it can't be done, whatever, no big deal. And I can totally understand why many players want to do this. Maybe they don't feel that the ending of Red Dead Redemption 2 is justified, that Arthur himself never really gets his chance at revenge. And even though John Marston does at the end of the game kill Micah, a lot of people still wanted him to be taken out far earlier than that. Well, apparently there is a way to do so. Now, of course, it doesn't alter the timeline of the game. Like, for example, you don't get like a secret ending if you do this where like the credits just start to roll in the middle of like chapter 3 or 4. Like, no, the game will play out as normal, and we'll talk about that. But it is a way in which you can kill Micah. You can take some good photos. You can even get his revolver. So it is useful in a way. And I first saw this posted on the Red Dead Mystery subreddit by a user, insert random name here, where they said, after the mission and American pastoral scene with Micah, I was headed back to camp and saw him running along the path, so I threw dynamite at him. It killed him and it gave me his revolver. All as Arthur. So let's actually play the footage right now. You guys can see that it looks like he's actually just finished a mission and does seem to be heading back to camp when, for whatever reason, he spots Micah Bell just sort of like sprinting down the road. And when I first saw this, I was like, that's kind of weird. And he can actually talk to Micah. He can greet him. You can antagonize him as well. It allows you to diffuse the situation. So I'm not really too sure what's going on there. And like any normal person who would see this happening, their first thought was, okay, I've got to decide on a weapon here to see how I'm going to take out Micah. I mean, that's what I would do. And so he opts for the double-barreled shotgun. Seems like a good choice. However, you run into a problem where, because Micah is considered a friend, since he's a gang member, you actually can't shoot him. So you got to improvise here. You got to go with the fire bottles. Now, again, the same problem here is you can't really aim the fire bottles at Micah, so you sort of have to throw them ahead of him. But he is sprinting like an Olympian here, and he just runs right through the fire bottles. So they do absolutely nothing. So the fire bottles, no good, so we've got to come up with a second plan, and that is dynamite. Now, we've only got 8 of them, and the problem is, again, you have to throw them in front of Micah, which is not super easy. So the first one does not connect at all. The second one connects. It is by far the best toss, and I thought for sure this is going to be the one that killed him because it knocked his hat off like 9 feet away. He ends up wiggling on the ground, and I thought he was just going to like keel over and die. That's not the case. He ends up getting up, so the second one ends up connecting. We've got 5 left, which means we've got to make the most of them here. This third one I thought was absolutely perfect. It launches Micah, but he ends up getting back up. So the fourth one we throw, again, is another really good one, and that finally does the job. And as you guys can see there, not only are we witness to a murder, you can see an X on the map, but you also have a couple of options here that you can do. You can loot Micah, you can pick up his body, and you can get his rare legendary revolvers. How epic is that? And you guys can see there, like he is like dead. Arthur is now looting him. And he only had $1 on him and a platinum band, which is very typical of Micah, not to have a lot of money. You can actually get Micah's revolver, which is insane, considering I think this happened in either Chapter 2 or 3. And you can also completely pick him up, which I think is hysterical as well. Now, during this whole moment, people are going by and noticing what's going on here. So our individual has to pick up the revolver, and you guys can see, like, that is legitimately Micah's revolver, like straight out of the compendium that you're supposed to get at the very end of the game during the epilogue. Like, it's legitimately his. Now, if you guys want to check out this entire post for yourself, again, I will leave a link to it in the description. However, the person who posted this did give us a lot of updates, and he responded to a couple of questions on that thread, and I'll give you guys some of the updates right now. The first thing he has to say is that Micah eventually returned to camp and that he still was able to keep the revolver. So obviously, if you guys know the true ending of Red Dead Redemption 2, John Marston ends up getting revenge for Arthur during the final mission of the epilogue where he kills Micah. So this doesn't like transform the entire story of Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, the credits don't start to roll after this. So Micah does end up returning back to life. However, for the moment where he is dead, you can do plenty of things to his body, taking photos and obviously getting the revolver. And you do end up getting to keep the revolver. It stays in your inventory even if Micah returns back to camp, which he will eventually does. Now, many people were wondering if he was also able to carry the body close to camp and get any reactions from the gang. And this is actually something we've tested in previous videos, like what happens if you bring an enemy back to camp. And the answer is no. Right as you get to like the border of the camp, someone will say like, Arthur, why are you bringing that in there? And then they'll end up making you drop it right outside. So there's no way for you to bring him back into camp and end up getting a reaction. Another thing that was funny that a lot of people were laughing at is why they ended up getting negative or decreased honor for doing this. And obviously, a lot of people think you should get a ton of good honor for doing this, since we know Micah is a rat. He betrays the gang. He kills Arthur. But I think at this point, he's treated like a normal NPC or character, which is why if you end up killing him, you get negative honor. So the game doesn't differentiate between Micah and then a normal NPC. A lot of people were wondering if you could also get Micah's hat as well. The answer is at least no. In this situation, it didn't give them the option. Although I'm pretty sure Micah's hat is just the Big Valley hat, or it might at least be a variation of one. In fact, I think it's slightly different because it actually has a matchstick in the brim, which does make it a little bit different. Now, again, if you guys are wondering how this ended up happening, apparently Micah just rode off on a horse from the mission and American pastoral scene, and then this individual ended up seeing him running away from camp. Now, during that mission and American pastoral scene, that's when you visit Micah at like his little camp, and he says he won't return to camp until he has like a peace offering for Dutch, because this is after he got arrested in the Strawberry Jail. So I think the reason he's out in the open is because he is returning to camp. Although every time that I've done this mission, he just vanishes. I never actually see him returning to camp. So I'm not sure if this is a glitch or not. Now, if you guys are curious, the person who recorded this video said that they were playing on a unpatched version on Xbox One. So it does not have any of the updates that Rockstar has done since the game has launched. So I don't know if that was something that could be done on like the initial version of the game and might not be doable now. However, just some more details that might come into play here. Now, apparently, this is not the only time in which you can do this to Micah. I've heard that in the prologue, when you actually go and ambush the O'Driscolls, if you disarm one of them and lead them to Micah, he will disarm Micah and you can get his revolver. And also, I've heard reports that once you finish the game, you'll also get a second of Micah's revolver, which is nice, and I didn't even think about this, because then you'll be able to dual wield it, because the game normally only lets you have one. That would be pretty cool. In fact, that's something I wish you got all along, because Micah has two revolvers during the entire story, but I don't understand why in the epilogue, when you go back and visit him, you only have the option to grab one. Like, was one taken? Did one fall down the mountain? Did one get lost? I'm not sure why Rockstar didn't let us have both. I don't know. I've always thought that was weird at the end of the game, how you didn't get both. But I think this is incredibly fun. So to answer the underlying question here, The answer is yes. You can technically kill Micah early in Red Dead Redemption 2, and you can do whatever you want to his body. I'm sure you could come up with, hundreds of creative things to do. In fact, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What would you guys do with Micah Bell's body if you were able to kill him early and then basically put him on your horse and go do whatever you want? Would you feed him to some gators? Would you drop him off of a waterfall? Would you bring him to the pagan ritual site, or bring him to the vampire, or, throw him in a pig pen so that the pigs end up eating his corpse? I'm sure there's a lot of creative things you guys could come up with in the comments down below, so I definitely love to hear from you guys down there. But that's all I've got for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. Again, let me know what you think in the comments down below of any other mysteries, secrets, or experiments you would like me to try in Red Dead Redemption 2. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would of course be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and Red Dead Redemption videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.